Hey guys, it's Alina here, and today I have another first impressions video for you. Today's video is on the Kat Von D Metalmatte Eyeshadow Palette. So before we get started, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you love first impressions videos and you want me to do more of them. And if there's something new that's come out that you want me to do a first impressions on, be sure to leave that in the comments. So let's go ahead and get started. So I love just about anything that Kat Von D does. So buying this palette was a given. I definitely had to get it. So when I purchased it, I didn't realize how massive it is. So if you haven't seen this palette yet, it's on Sephora's website and also Kat Von D. It's $60. So when you see $60, you're like, what? That's a lot. But because I always love the Kat Von D stuff, and especially things that are released during the holiday times, I was like, I gotta get it anyway. So when it arrived, I was blown away by the size. This thing is over a foot long for sure. This thing is massive, so massive. It had to come like in a big box. So $60, but it is pretty large for a palette. So in this palette, there are 13 matte shades, and then there are 9 Metal Crush eyeshadow shades. The Metal Crush eyeshadows actually has Synergy, which was a part of the original collection of Metal Crush eyeshadows. But the rest of the colors, from what I'm seeing, are completely new. This is a limited edition palette, and I believe that this is her holiday release. This is what the box looks like. What I find the most interesting is, as usual, she has drawn the cover, but if you notice what it says, it's an ambigram. So if you look on the front, it says metal, and if you flip it over, ooh, matte. I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know, maybe it's not as exciting for you guys. So that is what the box looks like. So as usual, the palette does match the box, and I'm telling you, it's so heavy. It has a magnetic closure, a really decently sized mirror, and then these colors. So by looking at the colors, I'm already very excited. If you guys saw my video on the Serpentina palette, I was kind of not bummed by it, but I felt like it wasn't a palette that could create looks, or at least not many looks on its own. And you guys know I like to judge palettes like if they're a standalone palette, which is what I call a palette that can create looks on its own, or if it's kind of an accent palette where you can't create a look with it, or at least not more than one, and you need other palettes to help you do the job. But I think this one has enough variety, you know, because you've got blues and greens over here, some neutrals that you can make looks with, and you have the purples as well. So there's a lot I think that you can do here depending on like how pigmented the eyeshadows are and whether or not they blend well. Okay, so when trying to figure out whether or not this palette is worth the $60 before even swatching it, I always like to see if there's a way of determining the actual value. So with the eyeshadows on the top, these are the Metal Crush eyeshadows. So even though these colors aren't available other than Synergy, we can still calculate based on the amount of product. So you got to keep in mind that these colors aren't available. So yes, you can't purchase them as single eyeshadows, but as far as how this palette was priced, we can figure that out. So there are 9 Metal Crush eyeshadows here. So each of these is 0.06 ounces. So a full size of the Metal Crush eyeshadow is 0.1 ounce. So the full size of 0.1 ounce is $21 each. So here you have 9 of them that are 0.06, which comes out to 0.54 ounces. So if you divide that by 0.1, which is what a full size is, you get 5.4. So basically you have over 5 of the full size shadows here. And then if you multiply that by the $21 that each one is, it comes out to over $113. So right there, that's almost double the cost for this palette. And we haven't even gone to the bottom eyeshadows. So she doesn't have a lot of eyeshadow palettes released right now, so it's hard to compare. But the Shade and Light Eye Contour palette is $46, and that one has 12 eyeshadows. And the total product amount in that palette is 0.6 ounces. So these bottom shadows, you have 13 of them that are 0.06 ounces, which comes out to 0.78 ounces. So again, we could go calculate ounce by ounce, but even just looking at these eyeshadows, you're getting more product than a typical eyeshadow palette that she sells. So this palette, I would say at least $150 value, more like $175 if you're looking at a product amount compared to the other stuff that's out there. So right there, good value. So it is limited edition, so I'll leave links below to where you can purchase it. The palette does also come with a step-by-step guide for 3 different looks. But yeah, I know you guys are just dying to see the colors, so let's get to swatching. So starting with the Metal Crush eyeshadows, the first color is Nebula, which is a metallic navy. Then you have Watt, which is a metallic teal. Ignite, which is a metallic seafoam. Tinsel, which is a metallic pewter. Glitz, which is a metallic rose gold. Twinkle, which is a metallic lilac. Volt, which is metallic violet. Synergy, which is a metallic bronze. And Flash, which is a metallic gold. Moving on to the matte eyeshadows, you have Linen, which is a matte white. Jet, which is a matte black. Velour, which is a matte royal blue. Stone, which is a matte cement gray. Moss, which is a matte forest green. Ribbon, which is a matte deep purple. Silk, which is described as a matte terracotta. I personally have to disagree. I think it's more of a matte mauve. Fringe, which is a matte peach. Feather, which is a matte dandelion. Oak, which is a matte chocolate brown. Suede, which is a matte fawn. Bone, which is a matte cream. And Velvet, which is a matte deep plum. So here are all the shades together. On this side we have the Metal Crush eyeshadows and then the matte shadows on this side. Really nicely pigmented for the most part, except for this black one, like the darker shades. But I think that they can definitely be buildable. Okay, so my final thoughts on this palette is I think it's definitely worth getting. Like you saw in the swatching, some of the matte eyeshadows were not that pigmented, but some of them really were. And for me, the Metal Crush eyeshadows were so amazing that even just for them, it's worth getting this palette. Like I showed in the amount of product that you're getting, even if you were just getting this palette for the Metal Crush eyeshadows, it's worth the value of $60. It's $113 worth of Metal Crush eyeshadow product. I think that even though some of the matte eyeshadows are not that pigmented, the neutrals that are also included are going to be great to help transition and have base shades and all that for these Metal Crush eyeshadows. I don't know, I freaking love this palette. I think it's going to be a good one for sure. If you're interested in picking this palette up, it's $60. It's available on the Kat Von D website and also the Sephora website. I'll leave links down below. So I want to know your thoughts on this palette. Did you love it? Did you get it? Is it on your wish list? Definitely leave me a comment because I love to hear what you guys think about these palettes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first impressions. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other videos. Hope you guys have a good one. See ya!